Hey, what's up everybody? 8-Bit Flashback here. Today I will show you how to make custom Sega Genesis or Mega Drive cartridge labels. This will be part 1 of 2 videos. In part 1, we'll be focusing on designing the cartridge labels with templates, artwork, logos, and much more. Then in part 2, I will show you how to print and apply the cartridge labels. These can be used for reproduction games, homebrew, ROM hacks, prototypes, or even replacement labels, such as this Sonic 1 with a badly damaged label. To make things easier, I have included a download pack in the description that contains 24 different cartridge templates and 8 logos. These templates will accommodate a wide variety of artwork layouts and dimensions, and these are very customizable, with various different styles of templates and logos that you can add and build however you choose. To make these labels, I'm using self-adhesive vinyl sticker sheets. They can be printed on with just a standard inkjet printer. And because these are made of vinyl, they are very durable. I have personally done some wear and tear tests on these labels by soaking them with water and trying to just rub off the ink. And surprisingly, they held up very well and remained usable. And here's a look at some of the finished cartridge labels. Here's a custom Vectorman 2 label. And here is TMNT, the Hyperstone Heist. And I really like the way this one turned out. I'm also using some custom cartridge shells that I got from Mordoff Games, and these really give it a one-of-a-kind look, especially with my Sega Genesis LED mod. Okay, to start off with, I've provided a download link, and that will be in the description. This one's going to be for the 24 different cartridge label templates and the 8 different logos you can pick from. This is a mega link, and you should be able to download this without creating an account. I'm just going to go ahead and save this to my desktop. This will be a zip archive file. Inside this will be a folder, and I'm going to go ahead and extract that to my desktop as well. The folder will be labeled Genesis and Mega Drive labels, and now I'm going to go ahead and open that folder up. And inside here is where we're going to find all the cartridge templates and logos. Let's go ahead and take a closer look. So I got a bunch of different styles you can choose from. Some of these already have the logos on them and they're ready to go. You just add your artwork and a title. Some of these are blank where you can add your own Genesis logo or your own Mega Drive logo and build these however you want. And there's quite a few different layouts that you can choose from. That way you're not stuck with just one crop size when you pick an image. You can use multiple different crop sizes and ratios and make it work with these different templates. So here's a couple different Mega Drive templates. Here's some blank ones, some white ones, a standard red one, even a pink one, and a couple different logos that you can add to your templates. There's also a second template pack download that's available in the description, and this one has a few extra templates inside of it, but the main difference in this pack is that all the images are vectorized. And I'll explain this option more here in just a few. And for an extra bonus, I've also created another download link, and this is for a Sega Game Logo pack. This will be another zip archive with a folder inside called Sega Game Logos. You can extract this folder anywhere you choose on your PC, such as your desktop. And inside here, you're going to find a bunch of different game logos that you can use for your projects. You can just copy and paste these to your projects whenever you're ready. And this is not all the games, but there's quite a few in here. There's like 940 different logos inside this pack. So now it's time to make a cartridge label. So we're going to open up the Genesis and Mega Drive label folder and pick out the template that we want to start editing. For an editing program, you can use something as simple as Windows Paint, but unfortunately Windows Paint does not support vector images or images with transparent backgrounds, so you will be limited on what you can do. But you could copy and paste your artwork inside the white box here, and then add a text overlay for the title. So it will work with Windows Paint, but you're going to be very limited. So I would recommend using a program that does support vector images or images that do have those transparent backgrounds. For a better editing program, you could use Windows Paint 3D, which is included with Windows 10, and this does support vector images. Or you could use Adobe Photoshop, which is going to give you even more options, but for this video, I'm just going to be using Windows Paint 3D because it is free with Windows 10, and it's very simplistic to use. So I found the template that I want to edit first, and I got this opened up inside Paint 3D. Now it's time to add some artwork inside the white box area. So the first game we're going to do is Vectorman 2, and this is just an example. You don't have to do Vectorman 2, you can just pick whatever game you want. I'm just picking Vectorman 2 for an example. So what I've done here is a Google image search for Vectorman 2 box art. And now I can search through a bunch of different images that are available. And when I find the image I want, I'm just going to right click on that and save that to my desktop. And there's multiple different ways you can search for the artwork. For example, I could type in Vectorman 2 by itself, Vectorman 2 artwork, Vectorman 2 covers, etc. Or you could even type in Vectorman 2 cartridge label, which might pull up a picture of a label that's already finished. But for this video, we're just concentrating on custom cartridge labels. So I've saved the Vectorman 2 image to my desktop, and now I'm going to open that up inside Paint 3D. And what we're trying to do here is select the best area on the picture that we want to use for the cartridge label. So we want to start off by clicking on the select button on the top left, and then select the area on the artwork that you want to use for your cartridge label. And just to let you know, this method is for the non-vector templates. For the other download pack that does contain those vector templates, I will show a different method for that here in just a few. Now when selecting the area on the artwork that you're trying to use, you want to select an area that has a similar shape to the white box on the label template. So on the left, what's outlined in yellow is the area that I've selected, which is very close to the same shape as the empty white box on the label template. And it doesn't have to be exact, just somewhat close. Otherwise, if you select a different shape, you might end up with a badly distorted image. And here's another quick example. This label template has a different shape, so the area I want to select on my artwork needs to be a similar shape to this, which is what I have selected in yellow. Also, I'd like to mention for the artwork that you choose to add to your cartridge label, you want to make sure to save an image that has a decent resolution size, because if it's too small, it's going to be really pixelated if you have to enlarge it too much. To select the area that you want to use, you want to left click on the mouse and then drag that over the area that you want to use for your artwork on the cartridge label. Once you have the area selected, you want to right click and then select copy. And now this image is ready to paste inside your cartridge label template. So now we're going to go back to the cartridge label template and open that up. And make sure that you have the select option enabled by clicking the select button on the top left. Now we're going to right click and paste that picture that we just copied. And as you can see here, the image is a little bit oversized. So what we're going to do here is hold the shift button and then left click and then drag from the corner to make the image a little bit smaller and fit inside this box. And what holding that shift button does is it keeps the aspect ratio the same as you shrink that image down. Otherwise, the image might get too wide or too skinny and distort the image. So what we're trying to do here is shrink that image as close as we can holding that shift button, but once it gets to a certain point, we will have to start changing the ratios just a little bit. So as you can see here, I'm really close, but I'm going to have to change it just a little bit. So I'm going to let go of the shift button now and start changing the size of the picture to match the size of the white box inside the cartridge template. And this particular template does have a gray outline that surrounds that white box. So what I'm doing here is I'm left clicking on each side of the image and dragging that to that gray outline. Once you're happy with the placement of the image, go ahead and left click in an open area and that'll paste that image in place. So because the image that I pasted onto this template was a little bit larger than the template itself, it did create a larger background for the picture. So what we need to do now is crop the picture. And this is an easy fix. We just select that crop button at the top and then left click and drag each side to where it matches the original edges of the template. And once you have all these edges cropped like you want it, you just select the done button on the right side of the screen here. And now it's back to the original size. So this is the method for using the non-vectorized cartridge label templates. If you want to use the vectorized templates, that will be a slightly different method. First, you will need to download the Genesis and Mega Drive vectorized label pack and extract the folder, then open it up. Inside here, it has the same 24 templates plus a few extras, but these templates have all been vectorized and have a transparent background where the artwork is located. And now it's time to select the template I want to use. I'm going to select this one right here. I'm going to right click, then copy. And now we're going to open up the artwork file that you want to use. And what we're going to do is paste the template on top of this. So instead of pasting the artwork on top of the template, now we're pasting the template on top of the artwork. So you can see here it's a little bit undersized. So we're going to hold that shift button and drag from the corner. And now we're going to try to line this up where it makes sense. And I'm trying to line this up to where the Vectorman 2 logo is inside the template. But I'm going to have to make some changes first because the background is not big enough. So I'm going to select undo and get rid of that paste. Then right click on the image, select canvas options, then stretch out the canvas. That way you have a bigger area to work with. So I'm just left clicking, then holding, and then stretching out each side so it's a little bit bigger. Now I'm going to repaste what I just copied earlier and go ahead and hold that shift button and enlarge it. And now I can line it up where I want. And once I find the perfect placement where I want that template to be, I'm going to left click on the outside there to paste it in place. Then take my canvas and go ahead and shrink it back down to where it matches the outside edges of the template. So I'm just left clicking, then holding it, and then dragging these edges to where it meets the template. Now let's go ahead and zoom in and take a closer look. And this one turned out really well. Now this method works most of the time pretty good, but there's going to be sometimes it doesn't work out quite like you want it to, and you might have to change the aspect ratio on the artwork. But what you don't want to do is change the aspect ratio on your templates. You want to make sure to keep those true, otherwise you'll end up with a distorted looking template. And now I'm going to show a few more examples using the same method. So I've copied and pasted another template, then I held that shift button to enlarge it, lined it up where I wanted it, then I cropped the background to match the original edges of the template. And let's go ahead and do one more. So I'm going to go back to my vectorized folder, select this one, copy. Now I'm going to paste it, enlarge it, hold that shift button, find my placement. I'm going to stretch it out just a little bit more here. Now crop the outside edges to match the template. And we're done. So I have demonstrated multiple different methods here for adding artwork to your non-vector and vector templates. Now let's move on to the next step. And now it's time to add a title or name to the cartridge label, and we can do this multiple different ways. The first option here is going to be using text. We can select the text box at the top there, and then select the size of text you want, the color of text, and the style of font. Windows already has a bunch of different styles of fonts that you can choose from. But you can also download extra fonts just by doing a quick Google search of the name of the font you're looking for. And if there's one available, you can download that and install that to your Windows, and that will be available in the Paint 3D program. And the font that I selected here is a Sega Genesis style font, and it does work really well with a lot of projects I have worked on. And now I'm going to type in the name of the game, Vectorman 2, and then stretch it out just a little bit here, that way everything fits on the top here. And now I can grab this and center it anywhere I want on the screen. Once I've made my selection, I can just left click outside of this box and that'll paste it right there. So that's one option you can do here. You can just type in the name of the game title with text, and that's how a lot of your original game cartridge labels are. But if you're looking for another option, what you could do is copy the specific game logo and paste that to the top of the cartridge label. So what I've done here is I've opened up the Sega Game Logos folder, which is available for download in the description, and I'm going to search for the Vectorman 2 game. And it looks like it is available inside the download pack, so I'm going to go ahead and right click on it, then select copy, then go back to my template and select paste. Now I'm going to drag it to the top, and it's going to have to be resized because it is a little bit too big. So I'm going to hold that shift button, then drag from the corner and get it to where it fits inside the top of the label here. Once I have the proper placement, I just click anywhere on the outside of the box and that'll paste it in place. For another option, if the game logo that you're looking for is not provided in the download pack, you could do a Google image search for Vectorman 2 logo. And that might pull up some images with transparent backgrounds that you could use, such as this one. You can usually tell if it has a transparent background because it'll have a checkered background behind the picture. So I'm going to go ahead and right click on this one and copy it, and now I can paste this inside my template. And you can do the same thing for your artwork. If the artwork that you've added to your template does not have a title already, like my Vectorman 2 picture here, you can add that logo separately just by doing this same thing. And if for some reason you can't find the game logo that you're looking for inside the download pack or by doing a Google image search, you could just simply use the type in text. And once again, I did hold that shift button as I shrinking down that image to keep the proper aspect ratio. And because that logo was a little bit larger than the template, that did make my background larger again. So I'm gonna have to hit that crop button and recrop the picture. And here's one more option for you. If you're looking to find a logo with a transparent background and you just can't find one, you can make your own by using the Magic Select. If you can find a decent picture that includes a logo inside of it and it has a nice sharp outline, there's a high chance that you can actually vectorize that yourself. So what you want to do is click on the Magic Select button at the top and then crop the area that you're looking to vectorize. So I'm looking for the Vectorman 2 logo. Once you select the area you want, click Next. And when you click Next, what's supposed to happen is it guesses the area that you want to vectorize. And as you can see here, it didn't get it quite right, so I will have to manually add some of this myself. So on the top right of the screen, I can select Add or Remove. Then I can just select on my screen with the cursor for the areas that I want to add or remove. And if you just keep clicking on the areas that you want to add, it usually does a pretty good job of guessing and outlining exactly what you need. But this will not work with all logos. There's going to be some logos that don't have that sharp of an outline, and this won't work that great. But with this particular logo, it does work really well. And it'd probably be a good idea to go ahead and zoom in on that picture. That way you can see all the little fine detail for the areas that you need to add or remove. So I'm just about done here. Everything looks good now, so I'm going to select Done. Click on that. And what it actually does is it cuts everything that you had selected from the existing picture. And I want to keep my existing picture the same, so what I'm going to do here is right click and then select Copy and then select Undo, and that'll put my picture back the way it was. And now I can paste that logo that I just copied. Then go through the same routine by holding that Shift button, shrink that image down, and make it fit on the top of the cartridge label. So I'm pretty close to being done with this one. I'm just going to do one more thing. I'm going to go back to that Genesis and Mega Drive label folder. And inside there you'll find the official Sega Seal of Quality logo. That's this yellow one here. I'm going to right click on that, copy it, then go back to my template and paste it inside here. And I'm just going to put this in the bottom right corner, right in this area. Then hold that Shift button while I shrink the image. And then I'll recenter it here with that gray line. And I think I can call this good. So this one is ready to go now. So I'm going to click on the menu button at the top here. Then select Save As, Image. And I'm going to save it as a PNG image. So now this label is just about ready to print. But first it will need to be resized in millimeters. That way when you print it out, it's the correct size. And there's a lot of options out there, but one free option would be going over to Avery.com and using template 3383. And this is just a quick preview of the printing process. In the part 2 video, I will go into much greater detail on all of these steps. After converting images into proper printable sizes, I print them with a standard inkjet printer onto printable vinyl sticker sheets. Then you have the option to add a clear protectant if you choose to make the labels even stronger. Then you can either hand cut them with scissors or use a small paper trimmer of some sort. Then I carefully line up two edges of the label in the cartridge corner and firmly press the label onto the cartridge in an evenly manner. And here's an example of a finished cartridge label for Mortal Kombat 2 Unlimited, which is an awesome ROM hack that makes MK2 what it should have been all along. And here is Vectorman 2, the cartridge label that I just got done designing. Now let's go ahead and design some more cartridge labels. Next up is Altered Beast. For the artwork, I just went to Google and typed in Altered Beast box art, and this is what pulled up, and this will be the image I'm using. So I'm going to go ahead and copy this and then open this up in Paint 3D. Now it's time to select the area of the artwork I want to use, and I'm going to use this portion right here. This should work out pretty good. So I'm going to right click, then copy. Now open up a template. And for this one, I'm going to use a Sega Master System inspired template. This one has those red and black lines that look a lot like the Master System colors. So I held that Shift button and then shrunk that image to where it matched the template. And then I just barely stretched that image out just a little bit to match the edges. Now it's time to add a logo, and I believe this logo is already included in the game logo pack. But just for an example, we're going to do the Magic Select again. So I've selected the Magic Select button at the top. Now I'm going to crop the area that I'm trying to vectorize. Now I'm going to click Next, and then uncheck that autofill background. And now I'm going to manually add the areas I want for my logo. Zoom in a little bit here. There's some spots that I need to remove as well. I'll click on these little areas here. And now it looks good, so I'm going to click the Done button. And I have a nice logo that I can use for my project here. So I'm going to right click and then copy. Go back over to my template, right click and paste. Now I need to rotate the logo to a horizontal position, and I can do that by clicking on that rotation icon and holding it and then dragging it whichever direction you want. Now it's time to shrink the logo, so I'm going to hold that Shift button, left click in the corner, and then drag it down to the size I want. Okay, so I got that logo in place, and now I'm going to add one more for the top of the label. So I'm going to rotate the image again, then shrink it, hold that Shift button, drag it to the size I want, I'm going to check out my placement at the top here. I got to shrink it just a little bit more. And I think that looks good, so we'll paste it right there. Now it's time to shrink the background, so we're going to go and crop those edges to the edges of the template. And here is the finished product. So we got a nice clean looking label ready to go. Now let's work on a Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtle Hyperstone Heist custom cartridge label. Here's what the stock label looks like, and here's what the custom label looks like. This has some enhanced colors, and I think it looks a lot better in my opinion. And again, for the artwork, I just Googled it, and here's an enhanced version of the box art for the Hyperstone Heist, and these colors are a lot more vibrant, so I'm going to go ahead and save that picture. Now I'm going to open up my templates, and this time I'm going to use one of the vector templates, so this will be in the vectorized templates folder. And we'll try out the red one first. This is the standard red Genesis templates that you see in a lot of different games. And with this template, I just can't find the right ratio that works out, so I'm not going to use this template. It's not working well. So I'm going to go back to that vectorized folder and try a different one out. This one right here is meant for some artwork that's kind of skinny and tall, so that one should work out. Just going to find what makes the most sense here. I'm going to line it up at the bottom here, then hold that shift button and enlarge it just a little bit. And keep dragging those edges until I find the proper placement. And right there works pretty good. That shows a lot of the artwork and all the logos are included. So now I'm going to shrink the background to the edges of the template. And now it's time to add a logo. So again, I'm back on Google. I found a vectorized image of the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles logo. I've copied that. Now I'm going to paste it inside here. Now I'm going to hold that shift button and then shrink the image. And now we're going to put that at the top. So I'm going to keep shrinking it till it fits. And that looks good there, so I'm just going to go ahead and paste it in place. And at this point, we could call this done, but I'm going to go ahead and add some more stuff just to show you some examples. Inside either one of the template folders, whether it's the vectorized or non-vectorized folder, you'll find some Sega logos. There's a mixture of Mega Drive, Genesis, and just some various different Sega logos. Each one of these logos you can copy and paste inside your project and play with these however you choose. So as you can see here, I've copied and pasted a Genesis logo onto the template. Then I rotated it 90 degrees and pasted one on each side of the cartridge label. And I think we can call this one done now. And here's some other examples using some different templates. This one works, but it's not my favorite. Here's the standard red one again. And I tried to stretch out the image to make it work, but it didn't look right. And here's the same template again, but this time I used a different area of the artwork and it worked out. But ultimately I ended up using a different template for my final design. This is the area of the artwork I used with a non-vectorized template. And with this particular one, I did end up changing the aspect ratio of the artwork to make everything fit like I wanted. So it did distort a couple of things on the picture. So I did end up replacing the small Genesis logo at the bottom and the official Sega Seal of Quality logo as well. And I did also replace the logo at the top of the cartridge label with text. I did download some TMNT font and installed that, and that worked out pretty good. Okay, let's do one more example. Here's Sonic the Hedgehog. This is a picture I downloaded from the internet. That's the area I want to use for the artwork. Now I'm going to paste that onto my template. Then hold that shift button and shrink it, and then barely adjust the edges there. I'm going to copy a Genesis logo from my template folder. Then paste that onto the template. I'm going to put that in the center down here. I'm going to go back to the template folder and copy the Seal of Quality logo. Then paste that in place. And I'll put that in the right corner right about here. That works good. And I'm going to copy a Sega logo. We're going to put that on the side of the label. So I'm going to paste. I'm going to rotate that by clicking on the rotation button and dragging it. Now I'm going to drag that to the side and the center, then paste it. And for a title, I could use some text. This is some Sonic font that I downloaded, or I could use another logo. So I'm going to go to the internet again and copy a transparent logo, then paste that into the project. This one will be for the name on the face of the cartridge label. And then I'm going to paste that same thing again, shrink it down by holding that shift button. And now I'm going to go ahead and drag that to the top and place that in the center. And now I'm going to go ahead and stretch it out just a little bit because it did get really small when I shrank that down. And now I have an image ready for my replacement label for my badly damaged Sonic the Hedgehog 1. Here's what my cartridge label looked like before. It was badly damaged and looked horrible. And here is after. Okay, it's time for me to get out of here, but if you like this video, if you could, hit that like button. And be sure to check out my next video where I'll be covering how to print these cartridge labels and how to apply them. Have yourself a great day, and I'll see you next time.